Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hope you're well. Hope everyone is good. Alhamdulillah. Today I'm going to do a short review of the book, The Young Muslim's Guide to Modern Science by Nidhal Guessoum. May Allah bless him. A astrophysicist, scientist who is from Algeria originally, and he's teaching now in the universities in the UAE. He's got many YouTube videos on YouTube, primarily in the Arabic language. He's got his own channel under his name, Nidhal Guessoum, and he is someone who's addressing the issue of Islam and modern science. This is what he done. He mentions that's why he made the title of his book Modern Science and not merely Science. And his purpose in this book, although it's for young Muslims, I think it's for everyone in my reading and my experience of the book. He wants to get us up to speed in all that science has developed, modern science has developed, and how things have changed drastically over the last couple hundred years, and the discoveries and the theories and the models that have come forward to explain a lot of what goes on. So he structures his book very wisely. I think he has a good approach to introduce the whole topic, to introduce science to everyone. He doesn't at all portray himself as an Islamic scholar. He refers to them, he quotes several of them according to his choice and what he's read. And, that is something that you can tell he's not trying to take over on the religious side of things. He does put forward his views on science and explains how he does not find any contradictions between Quran, between Islam and science, and in fact quotes several great Muslim scientists from the past who had the same opinion and said these things hundreds of years ago. So it's a very good book. I personally enjoyed it a lot and found it very beneficial. To give you an example of a few issues discussed within the book, for instance, the idea of cloning, the idea of genetically modified organisms, food, especially now that goes on with, what is the meaning of all that, and so forth. There's a big section on evolution, the general concept of evolution, the concept of evolution of humans, are they from animals or not? And he goes straight to the point of how science in this theory has developed a very uh, serious model or serious theory that's getting closer to factual basis. And he does actually himself, and this is one point that I may not agree with him on, he does actually present a possibility of having to accept the theory of evolution as a fact one day, and therefore it shouldn't be something that, and it doesn't, he actually mentions that, and it won't be any contradiction between that and Islam and our tradition and so forth, although he does raise certain issues and quote certain scholars within the book, and that's a very controversial or hot topic, as you could imagine. I will also say that it was really good in the way he presented the idea of what is a scientific fact is, a scientific theory is, a model is, and so forth. Not everything in science is the same as each other. Not everything science presents is the same level of factual, acceptance. He's a very good section here on actually the falsifiability of results, and how scientists are not merely just following those before them. They actually are trying to be as objective as possible. Objectivity is a big topic throughout mentioned to the book, and our science is objective, and it needs to have the same results from anybody who does the experiment or provides a theory and comes forward with some kind of conclusions, etc. It's not a case of being subjective. It's not a subjective thing at all. He mentions that point very clearly throughout the book, and really is very clear, very good language. It's easily read. I think that's why it's for young Muslims. I think the language is pretty good and accessible for everyone. And finally, he does in this book talk about scientists themselves, and he actually mentions how scientist, the term, has become a profession. Somebody who's extremely well-versed expert in the field. However, he does say that that shouldn't be a reason why we just accept people's word. The fallacy of authority, or some scientist says it, so we believe it. Scientists, he mentions, have their own approach, their own opinions, their own biases when they are doing their tests, and they may want to provide a particular explanation for what they deem in their eyes as the right way of going about things, rather than just being objective sometimes. So he does actually mention that point, as in the scientists are humans. And of course, the final point that really he mentions towards the end of the book, when he talks about Islam and science and religion in general, and science actually, he mentions that science does not provide answers for certain topics such as morality, what is right and wrong. Science has its limits, and therefore we still need religion, we still need other sciences, fields of life that help us to understand why we're here, what we're doing. And it's a really interesting book, really found it beneficial, and I thought I'd make this short video just to say that well done, thank you. Yes, there are a few issues I personally don't agree with in the book, but I think it's good reading for everyone with an open mind. uh, Allah bless you. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.